Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalam ala Imam al-Anbiya wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqa wa rizqna tiba'a wa arina al-batila batila wa rizqna ijtinaba. Brothers, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another of our students. We are supposed to be doing the topic, the importance of knowledge, the importance of ilm. The information for this dars is taken from a book written by Nasir Omar, one of the leading scholars of Saudi Arabia. The first chapter in this class, the first chapter, why is knowledge important? Why is it compulsory? Why is it important? Knowledge is important because we need knowledge the way we need food, clothing, shelter, and oxygen, as well as medicine. So the same need we have for food, clothing, shelter, water, oxygen, and medicine, knowledge is needed the same way we need these things. Knowledge is important because it is needed as our basic needs of food, clothing, shelter, as well as oxygen and medicine. That's the first reason why knowledge is important. Knowledge is important because we were colonized by the kuffar after we became sunken in ignorance. So we became colonized by the kuffar after we became sunken in ignorance, in jahiliyyah. So whenever we become ignorant, we become vulnerable for the colonial masters to colonize us. So the reason why the Muslim world became colonized by the British, the French, and they are the ones who colonized the Muslim world, as well as the Dutch. The British, the French, the Dutch, the Portuguese. The Muslim world became, as well as the Spanish. The Spanish, the British, the French, the Dutch, the Portuguese. The reason why they colonized Muslim countries is because we became sunken in Jahiliyyah. And we leave off knowledge of the deen as well as knowledge of the dunya. Our topic is the importance of knowledge. Please do not entertain the idea the knowledge is only Islamic knowledge. We are speaking about knowledge in general. So please do not entertain the idea the knowledge that I am promoting here is only Islamic knowledge. That's not the case. We are speaking about knowledge in general, because not everyone in the Islamic State can be a sheikh. If everyone is a sheikh, who's going to be the doctors and the nurses and the engineers? Who's going to look after your teeth? What about the dentist? Can a sheikh look after your teeth? Would you allow me to drill your teeth for you and to extract your teeth? So we are speaking about knowledge in general, the importance of knowledge in general, not just Islamic knowledge. Could you undock the people who are supposed to help with the hujjah? Could you please undock schooler just in case 85 computer get frozen? Please undock schooler just in case 85 computer gets frozen. The third reason why it's important for us to seek knowledge is because we are living in dangerous times in which we have a lot of deviant groups. Deviant groups have become widespread in the ummah today. Deviant groups have become widespread in the ummah today. And you need to be immunized against these deviant groups. They are a virus. And you need to be immunized against the virus. The way you immunize your baby against measles, mumps, and rubella. The way you are immunized against measles, mumps, and rubella. You have to be immunized against the goofy Sufis, the shady Shiites, and the Madkhalis. You need to be immunized. Knowledge immunize you against these people who are a virus. They are a virus. And Allah Ta'ala said, all these groups will be claiming that they have the correct creed. And all these deviant groups will be happy with their creed. Surah 23. Knowledge about authentic Tawheed is the immunization against such deviants. Or I said they are a virus. They are a virus. So you have to say these deviants who are a virus. Allah told you that they are happy with their creed. Surah 23 verse 53. فَتَقَطَّعُوا أَمْرَهُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ زُبْرًا وَكُلُّ حِزْبٍ مَا لَدَيْهِمْ فَرِحُونَ. They have split their religion up into groups and splinter groups, and every group is happy with their dodgy aqidah. Every group is happy with their dodgy aqidah. كُلُّ حِزْبٍ مَا لَدَيْهِمْ فَرِحُونَ. So because we have so many deviant groups floating around, you need to be immunized against these groups, and the knowledge is your immunization. I quoted an ayah, but they men have broken their religion among themselves into sects, each group rejoicing in its belief. Okay, shukran. The next chapter, the weakness of the Muslims. The next chapter, why the Muslims are weak. Why the Muslims are weak. The first reason why the Muslims are weak, given by the scholars, the role of the masjid is undermined. The mimbar in the masjid is a weapon, but if you don't deliver proper khutbahs, the Muslims will become weak in iman, and weak in fiqh, weak in aqidah, weak in everything. The role of the masjid is undermined. That's the first reason given by the scholars why the Muslims are weak. Not every masjid is good. Not every shaykh is good. Not every shaykh is good. Not every masjid is good. Allah warns you about masjid dirar. What is masjid dirar? Surah Tawbah 107. Allah said some masjids were built to spread a false version of Islam. And those who built the masjid will swear by Allah their intention is good. Surah Tawbah verse 107. Allah warns you about masjid dirar. In some masjids in Europe and America, the imam is clean shaven and his trousers is dragging underground, and he invites the senators and the MPs to come in the masjid to preach democracy. What a situation. His trousers is dragging underground, he's clean shaven, and he invites the police to come to the masjid, and then the next week he invites the senators and the MPs to come to preach democracy in the masjid and to canvass the Muslims for votes. I've seen this in many countries. This is called Masjid Dirar. Surah Tawbah 107. A masjid which was built to preach a false version of Islam. And if you are jahil, you will not know that your masjid is Masjid Dirar, because you're not immunized. And as for those who put up a masjid by way of harming and disbelief, and to disunite the believers, and as an outpost for those who warred against Allah and the Messenger Muhammad aforetime, they will indeed swear that their intention is nothing but good. Allah bears witness that they are certainly liars. This is Masjid Dirar. 99% of the masjids in Europe and America are Masjid Dirar. You can't have the aqidah of is 85 in the room to bring the hadith. And the Rasul said, the biggest fear I have for my ummah is misguided scholars. Who's going to bring the hadith I just quoted? The biggest fear I have for my ummah is misguided scholars. Okay, 85 is in the room. It saved me having to scream and shout. Where is the hadith? Okay, Jazakallah khair. Abu Dhar said, I was with the Prophet one day and I heard him saying, there is a thing I fear for my ummah more than the Dajjal. It was then that I became afraid. So I said, O Rasulullah, which thing is that? The Prophet said, Al-A'imma al-Mudillun, the misguided scholars. The second reason why the Muslims are weak, we have been infiltrated with wicked scholars. For these scholars, it's all about the Benjamin. They passed a fatwa recently. The American government stopped some Muslims from visiting their husbands in prison. They cut them off from their family. And the Imam of the prison said what the American government is doing is halal, because the Prophet cut off some Muslims who did not go to the Tabuk expedition. And even their wives were not allowed to give them salam and go to bed with them. First of all, you are not allowed to compare the American government to the Prophet. Secondly, these men who were cut off, it was for a short time. It wasn't permanent. The American government is permanently breaking up the family. The kuffar, they like to break up families because they are the devil. The Prophet said the devil likes to break up families. So for you to be an imam of the prison and take sides with the American government to stop women from visiting their husbands in prison, claiming it's a threat to our national security, that imam has become a kafir. I think his name is Muhammad Jonda or Joda, something like that. That imam is a kafir for taking sides with the Taghut against the Muslims. These people who work for the Taghut as imams, when there's a conflict, they take sides with the Taghut because it's all about the Benjamin. When I was in prison in the UK, I gave a khutbah. I gave the tafsir of Surah 98. And I recited the ayah, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ وَالْمُشْرِكِينَ فِي نَارِ جَهَنَّمَ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أُولَٰئِكَ هُمْ شَرُّ الْبَرِيَّةِ. Those who reject faith from among the Jews and the Christians and the pagans, they will be in the hellfire to abide forever. They are the worst of created creatures. The prison said I was preaching hatred in the masjid. And they held a tribunal, and some clean-shaven Muslims came to the tribunal. They took sides with the kafirs against me. They said, Shaykh Faisal, you did not use hikmah. Why did you give the tafsir of Surah 98, Surah Bayyinah? You should have chosen a tafsir which was friendly to the prison environment. So these imams who work in the prisons, they are going to take sides with the kuffar because it's a job they are doing. And as far as they are concerned, it's all about the Benjamin. They don't care about al-wala wal-bara, to love and hate for the sake of Allah. Al-Wala wal-Bara is on the back burner. The Benjamin is on the front burner. That's their priority. These wicked scholars who Nasir Omar is talking about, that they cause the Muslims to be weak, they badmouth the Mujahideen. It's very easy to know when a person is a wicked scholar. They believe in democracy and they have big bellies. They all believe in democracy, they have big bellies, and they badmouth the Mujahideen. It's very, very easy to know a wicked scholar. And they condemn the shirk of Qubur, but not the shirk of Qusur. Qubur means the graves, and Qusur means the palace. Qubur is the grave and Qusur is the palace. They condemn the shirk of Qubur, but not the shirk of Qusur. They put shirk to condemn. So don't ask me who is a wicked scholar. It's easy to know. They badmouth the Mujahideen. They call the Mujahideen Khawarij and terrorists. They believe in democracy as well. They believe in voting. And they don't call for Khilafah Sharia Jihad. And they even believe in the UN. They believe in the UN, and they believe you can join the British Army, the American Army, the French Army. They don't tell you to join the army of the Mujahideen. They say don't join them, they are Khawarij. Join the American Army, the British Army, the French Army. These are the wicked scholars. It's very easy to know who's a wicked scholar. So stop asking me what are the signs of a wicked scholar. It's very easy. If Allah had blessed you with taqwa, then you'll be able to spot a wicked scholar. Because Allah said if you have the taqwa, He will give you the furqan, the criteria to know the right from the wrong, the good from the bad, the pure from the corrupted, the truth from the false. The other reason why the Muslims are weak is because of a bad syllabus imported from the kuffar. A bad education syllabus imported from the kuffar. Western education is haram. And when we say Western education is haram, we are speaking about the evolution theory, Darwinism. And we are speaking about democracy. They promote democracy in Western education. They promote the free mixing of the sexes, they promote democracy, and they promote Darwinism. They promote the Big Bang Theory. They promote homosexuality is normal. Western education is haram. Dentistry is not Western education. Medicine is not Western education. Nursing is not Western education. This is called international education. What is Western education? Democracy and Darwinism. Western education is haram. So be careful of importing the syllabus of the kuffar into Muslim countries. They promote Darwinism. They also promote that to be gay is normal. That is Western education. To be gay is normal. So the sheikhs are saying what caused the Muslims to be weak is because of the Western syllabus that they imported into the Muslim countries. When Boko Haram of Nigeria say Western education is haram, they are correct. How can you teach Darwinism in northern Nigeria when the people there, they are radical Muslims? Some people said, I don't agree with the word radical, Shaykh Faisal. You should say they are Quranic, not radical. Radical is used by the kuffar media, the Jewish media. You have to say they are Quranic, not radical. The fourth reason why the Muslims are weak is because they are suffering from inferiority complex. The fourth reason why the Muslims are weak, they are suffering from inferiority complex. They think the kuffar are better than them. These kuffar are swine-eating, wine-drinking, uncircumcised devils. Yet you think they are better than you. They don't even know how to wash. They don't even make istinja. They're not even circumcised. Inferiority complex is the fourth reason given by the scholars why the Muslims are weak. If you have inferiority complex, you're a munafiq because you are thinking that kufr is better than Islam. Allah told you that the kuffar, they are beneath the level of the cattle. Surah 25 verse 44. So if Allah tells you they are beneath the cattle, how can you have inferiority complex? Only a munafiq is suffering from inferiority complex. And stay away from such people who think the kuffar are better than them. Allah Ta'ala said, وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونَ طُورِ سِينِينَ وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ ثُمَّ رَادَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ السَّافِلِينَ. I swear by the fig and the olive, I swear by Mount Sinai, I swear by Holy Mecca, the Balad which is Amin, the city of safety. We created man to be the best of our creation, then we reduce him to the lowest of the low, except those who believe. All these are evidences to prove that you are not allowed to believe that the kuffar are better than you. Allah Ta'ala said in Surah Qalam, Surah 68, verse 35 to 36, أَفَنَجْعَلْ الْمُسْلِمِينَ كَالْمُجْرِمِينَ مَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ. Surah 68 verses 35 to 36. أَفَنَجْعَلْ الْمُسْلِمِينَ كَالْمُجْرِمِينَ مَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ. Surah 68 verses 35 to 36. Shall we then treat the Muslims like the kuffar? What is the matter with you? How can you pass such a judgment? Do you follow? Do you understand what Allah is saying? Are you paying attention to the ayah? Shall we treat the Muslims like the kuffar, the mujrimeen, the criminals, the disbelievers? What is the matter with you? How can you pass such a judgment? The fifth reason why the Muslims are weak, they are too busy with the dunya. The fifth reason given by the scholars why the Muslims are weak, they are too busy with the dunya. They don't have time to study their deen. Al-Hakum al-Takathur hatta zurtum al-Maqabir. Surah 102. Rivalry. Rivalry to pile up the pomp and glitter of the dunya. It takes you away from your deen until you visit the grave, then you'll come to know. Al-Hakum al-Takathur hatta zurtum al-Maqabir. The scholar said, Inshighal bimalazat al-dunya. You are too busy with the dunya. I've met Muslims, they forget how to recite the adhan, they forget how to recite the iqamah, they forget how to recite at-tayyat, the tashahud. They are too busy with the dunya. They miss 50 Salatul Jum'ah, especially the ones who live in Dar Harb. They miss 50 Salatul Jum'ah. They are too busy with the dunya. Salatul Jum'ah is compulsory on men, not women. If a Muslim woman misses 50 Salatul Jum'ah, you cannot blame her because it's not fard on her, it's only fard on the men. The sixth reason, too many diversions diverting you away from your deen. The sixth reason, too many diversions diverting you away from the deen. I was in an African country and we held a conference. 3,000 people came. I was on a tour. A week later we held a conference in another city. 500 came. So where are the people? It was the Shaykh Faisal. It's Champions League and Manchester United is going to play Barcelona for the cup. So they are busy watching the football match. I'm not going to tell you the name of the African country just in case I offend someone. I'm sorry, Shaykh Faisal, we forget to tell you. It's our mistake to fix the date of the conference the day we chose. We didn't pay attention, close attention. Manchester United is playing Barcelona for the match, the Champions League, and the people are watching. It clashed with the conference. The Muslims are diverted away from the deen because of too many diversions. I'm only giving you one example. I've given you one example. It's called diversions diverting you away from your deen. And you don't have time to study the deen. So what have you become? What is your new label? Unsuspecting Muslim. If we label you unsuspecting Muslim, what we mean is you are a Jahil Muslim and you don't know anything about Islam. We use the word unsuspecting Muslim to be polite. The only reason why we chose those words is because we are polite. But what we are saying is you are a Jahil Muslim and you don't know anything about your deen. These are the main reasons why the Muslims are weak. The last reason, the seventh reason, not enough people specialize in Islamic knowledge. They study computing and medicine and engineering, but we don't have enough sheikhs. How many sheikhs do you have in Paltalk? How many sheikhs do you have in Paltalk who graduated from a university? I'm not talking people who are self-taught. I'm talking a sheikh who graduated from a university. How many do we have in Paltalk? Do you understand what Nasir Omar is saying? We don't have enough sheikhs. And people specialize in computing, and people specialize in medicine, engineering, dentistry, but we don't have enough sheikhs. And people study dunya, not deen. How many sheikhs do we have in Paltalk? I'm not speaking about people who are self-taught. Because the man who is self-taught is dangerous. Albani was self-taught. And look at his aqidah. Albani, he was self-taught. His aqidah is toxic. He said if you insult Muhammad, you're not a kafir. You're only ill-mannered. When I was on tour of Nigeria, when I went to the north, where you have radical Muslims, well, you say I should say Quranic, not radical. The northern Nigeria, where they have Sharia. I met many Muslims who believe where aqidah is concerned, Albani was never a Muslim. He was a Taghut. They say Albani was Taghut, he was never a Muslim. How can you pass a fatwa? If you insult Muhammad, you're not a kafir. You're only ill-mannered. So stay away from people who are self-taught. They are very dangerous. Okay, shukran for bringing the fatwa of Albani and their refutation. Not only did the admin bring the fatwa of Albani, they brought the refutation of Albani. He was of the Ghulat Murja, the extreme Murji. A Murja is a liberal who doesn't make takfir, even when the text is clear. A Murja is a liberal who doesn't make takfir even when the text is clear. That's a murji. Some murji say Islam is in my heart, I don't need to practice. The next chapter, the three categories of knowledge. The next chapter, the three categories of knowledge. Knowledge is divided into three categories, and the first category is called a murja, is someone who does not make takfir on the kuffar even when they have clear textual evidence to do so. Yes, that's a murji. A murji is a liberal. A liberal Muslim is a murji. The first category of knowledge is called fardul ayn, an individual duty. For example, for you to learn bathroom etiquettes, When you go to the toilet, you have to wash yourself after urination or defecation. It's called Islamic bathroom etiquette. That knowledge is fardul ayn. And to be circumcised is not sunnah, it's fard. So don't think that is the madhab, the Hanbali madhab. To be circumcised is not sunnah, it's fard. And Muslim women are not allowed to marry men who are not circumcised. A man who is not circumcised is like a dog. And they give women cervical cancer. Even Jews are circumcised. So how can you be a Muslim, you're not circumcised? That's very shameful. The first category is fardul ayn. For example, bathroom etiquettes. How to make istinja, how to make wudu, how to make ghusl. We covered these things in Bulugh al-Maram. An example of fardul ayn is to learn Surah Fatiha and to learn how to pray properly. That knowledge is called fardul ayn. The other branch of knowledge is called fard kifaya. Fard kifaya is a collective duty. For example, how to wash the dead. You need in the community at least 5-6 people who specialize in washing the dead. Fard kifaya is called a collective duty. A few people do it for the jama'ah. A few do it for the many. Fard kifaya. For example, how to wash the dead. For example, the knowledge pertains to the collective duty of the Muslim community. For example, how to wash the dead. For example, how to divide up the Islamic law of inheritance. The knowledge, Islamic law of inheritance. Did you know the Prophet said the first knowledge to be lifted up from the Ummah will be the Islamic law of inheritance? The first branch of knowledge to be lifted up will be what? The Islamic law of inheritance. To the extent where a man will search the Muslim community and he can't find anyone who can tell him about the Islamic law of inheritance. My father passed away. How should we divide up the legacy? He can't find nobody. That's the first branch of knowledge to be lifted up. The Islamic law of inheritance. The other branch of knowledge is called mustahab. The other branch of knowledge is called mustahab. And that is to specialize in comparative religion and to specialize in mantiq, logic. To specialize in comparative religion. To learn how to refute Christians and Jews by using their own book is called to specialize in comparative religion. That knowledge is mustahab. Like what Ahmed Deedat did, or Dr. Zakir Naik, specializing in comparative religion to refute the kuffar with their own book. And the knowledge of mantiq. Mantiq means logic. That knowledge is mustahab. Mantiq means the logic. The ability to debate with a person logically. That knowledge, mantiq, is mustahab. The next chapter, the merits of seeking knowledge. The next chapter, and please bring me with large writing, the merits of seeking knowledge. Allah Ta'ala and His Rasul has encouraged us to seek knowledge on many occasions in Quran and Sunnah. I'll bring me the first ayah. Allah Ta'ala said in Surah Taha 114, وَقُلْ رَبِّي زِدْنِي عِلْمًا, and say, my Lord, increase me in knowledge. Surah 20, Surah Taha 114, وَقُلْ رَبِّي زِدْنِي عِلْمًا, and say, my Lord, increase me in knowledge. Allah Ta'ala and His Messenger has encouraged us on many occasions to seek knowledge. The next ayah, Allah Ta'ala said, Surah 39, verse 9. Bring me Surah 39, verse 9. This is yet another ayah in which Allah Ta'ala has encouraged us to seek knowledge. قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Say, are they equal? Those who know and those who do not know. The ayah I want is, say, are they equal? Those who know and those who do not know. Surah 39, verse 9. That is a piece of the ayah I am interested in. The second part of the ayah. Surah 35, verse 28. Surah 35, verse 28. Allah said, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. It is only those who have knowledge among His slaves that fear Him. Surah 35, verse 28. I hope my mic is clear. I said 28. Let's hope my mic is clear. Allah said, those who fear Allah are the ulama. If you are an alim and you don't fear Allah, you are a shaitan. And this is why that man was taken out in Syria. He was a scholar, but he was passing fatwas for Bashar al-Assad. He gave his wala to Bashar al-Assad. That's why he was taken out with a huge bomb. Then there's another person in Shishan. He gave his wala to the Russians. He gave his wala to the Russians and he was taken out as well. He said the Russians can invade Shishan, Chechnya. When he passed that fatwa, the Russians can invade Chechnya. Ahmad Kadyrov, he was taken out as well with a bomb as well. If you're a wicked scholar, the Muslims are going to kill you. Who do you think you are? passing fatwas to put the lives and properties of Muslims in jeopardy. They're going to take you out because you're no longer a sheikh, you're a snake. If you pass dodgy fatwas, you're no longer a sheikh, you're a snake. The Muslims are going to take you out. Ahmad Kadrav, the famous mufti of Shishan, was taken out with a huge bomb because he didn't practice al-wala wal-bara. He gave his wala to the Russians. Then this guy in this person in Syria, Tubi, he gave his wala to Bashar al-Assad. He was taken out. So if you have knowledge, but your knowledge caused you to sell out, you didn't use your knowledge to benefit the ummah, the Muslims will kill you. Your knowledge didn't make you fear Allah. With all the knowledge you sold out. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. Verily those who fear Allah are the ulama. So if you have knowledge but you didn't fear Allah, you sold out, you're a shaitan. Surah 58 verse 11. Surah 58 verse 11. يَرْفَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Surah 58 verse 11. What did Allah Ta'ala say? يَرْفَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. Allah raised two people to high levels of honor, dignity, and prestige. Surah 58, verse 11. Allah will exalt in degree those of you who believe and those who are firmly grounded in knowledge. I am interested in the second part of the ayah, not the first part. Allah will exalt in degree those of you who believe and those who are firmly grounded in knowledge. Okay, I am finished quoting Quranic verses to encourage you to seek knowledge. It's now time for 85 to bring hadith. The first hadith I have in front of me, مَن يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يُفَقِّهْهُ فِي الدِّينِ. Whenever Allah wants good for you, He gives you the proper understanding of the deen. Whenever Allah Ta'ala wants good for you, He gives you the proper understanding of the deen. مَن يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يُفَقِّهْهُ فِي الدِّينِ. That's the first hadith. The second hadith, so for you to have wrong aqidah, that means Allah doesn't love you. For you to be walking around believing democracy is Islamic, because democracy is shura. Allah doesn't love you. If Allah had loved you, you would have the right aqidah. For you to be walking around claiming it's halal to lock up the Muslims and torture them and kill them if they demonstrate against the Tawhid. That's the latest fatwa coming out of Saudi Arabia. If that's what you believe, Allah doesn't love you. Didn't you know that's the latest fatwa coming from Saudi Arabia? You're allowed to lock up and torture and kill anyone who demonstrates against the Tawhid. How dare you demonstrate against my kafir paymasters? That's the latest fatwa coming out of Saudi Arabia. If that's your aqidah, Allah doesn't love you. That's not even aqidah, we call that ideology. Because aqidah is something pure. Your belief is ideology. Communism is ideology. Nazism is ideology. But Islamic belief, the creed, it is called aqidah. For you to be walking around with erroneous ideas, Allah doesn't love you. Because the Rasul said what? مَن يُرِدْ بِهِ خَيْرًا يُفَقِّهُ فِي الدِّينِ. The next hadith, مَن سَلَقَ طَرِيقًا يَلْتَمِسُ فِيهِ عِلْمًا سَهَّلَ اللَّهُ لَهُ بِهِ طَرِيقًا إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ. Whosoever traverses a path to seek knowledge, Allah will use that path to make him enter the paradise. مَن سَلَقَ طَرِيقًا يَلْتَمِسُ فِيهِ عِلْمًا سَهَّلَ اللَّهُ لَهُ بِهِ طَرِيقًا إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ. Anyone who traverses a path to seek knowledge, Allah will use that path to make him enter the paradise. That hadith I just quoted can be found in Sahih Muslim. Therefore, you should travel far to seek knowledge. On the authority of Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, whoever removes a worldly grief from a believer, okay, shukran for the hadith. Man salaka tariqan yaltamisu fihi ilma, sahhalallahu lahu bihi tariqan il jannah. The next hadith I have in front of me, إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنَ آدَمْ إِنْ قَطَعَ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا مِنْ ثَلَاثَةٍ. Whenever the son of Adam should pass away, all his pious deeds come to a halt except three. Sadaqah Jariyah, a continuous charity. Maybe you built a school, a library, a masjid to benefit the ummah. So when you are inside the grave, you get the barakah. Or ilm yuntafa' bi, you leave behind Islamic knowledge to benefit the ummah. Or walad salih yad'u lahu, or you leave behind a righteous son or daughter to pray for you when you are inside the grave. So every Muslim should try to leave behind pious offspring to pray for them when they are inside the grave. The next hadith I have in front of me is, the dunya is cursed, everything in the dunya is cursed except three things. Dhikrullah, the remembrance of Allah, and what makes you remember Allah. A scholar of Islam and a student of that scholar. Everything else in the dunya is cursed except three things. Dhikrullah, and that which pleases Allah, a scholar of Islam and a student of that scholar. The other hadith I have in front of me is, all the angels in heaven, the birds in the air, even the fishes in the sea, and even the ant in his hole, makes dua to Allah and beg Allah to forgive the alim who teaches the people their deen. This hadith was collected by At-Tirmidhi. The angels in heaven, the birds in the air, the fishes in the sea, even the ant in his hole, pray to Allah and beg Allah to forgive the alim who teaches the people their deen. Even the ant in their holes and even the fish invoke blessings on the teacher. Okay, shukran for bringing the hadith. The next hadith I have in front of me, the scholars are the inheritors of the prophets. All in the heavens and on earth and the fish in the depth of the water seek forgiveness for the scholar, and the superiority of the scholar over the worshipper is like the superiority of the full moon at night over the rest of the stars. Verily the scholars are the inheritors of the prophets. Verily the prophets did not bequeath dinars and dirhams. All they left behind was knowledge. So whoever takes it has indeed acquired a huge fortune. I'm happy you are bringing the hujjah because we don't have the notes for this dars. We have the audio way back some 15 years ago in the UK. But to have the notes, we don't have notes for this dars. It's the first time we are compiling the notes. We have an audio from the UK, and the audio which I heard on the internet is not even clear. Way back some 15 years ago, and the quality is not even clear. This is the first time we are having notes for this topic, the importance of knowledge. The scholars say you should seek knowledge when you are young. Encourage your loved ones to seek knowledge when they are young. Why you should seek knowledge when you are young? Please continue to take notes. Oh, brother, we are from water. Why the scholar said seek knowledge when you are young? Hassan, the grandson of the Prophet, said seek knowledge when you are young. Because when you learn something when you are young, it sticks. It's like you carve something from the wood or the stone, and the carving remains. When you are young, your brain is like sponge. It soaks up the knowledge. It's important, and the most important years in the life of a child is the first 7 years. The first 7 years in the life of a child, they are the most important years. That's when the kids are impressionable. If you teach the child Tawheed, by the time the child reaches 7, they will never apostate. The first 7 years is very important. So Hassan, the grandson of the Rasul, said, seek knowledge when you are young, because it's like the knowledge is carved to the wood. The way you carve things to the wood, that's how the knowledge becomes a part of you, like the carving of the wood. Another reason why you should seek knowledge when you are young is because when you are young, your brain soaks up the knowledge. When you are old, you keep forgetting. Your brain cells are old. You can't soak up the knowledge properly. Another reason why you should seek knowledge when you are young. When you are old, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You are set in your ways. You are set in your ways as an old person. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You are set in your ways. You can't change. Another reason why you should seek knowledge when you are young is because old people don't like to learn from young people. A man who is in his 60s, how is he going to go to a man who is 20, 25 to ask him questions about Islam? It's embarrassing. So when you are old, you have pride in your heart, the disease of pride. Therefore, you will not approach young people and say to them, explain this hadith for me. Explain this ayah of the Quran for me. I don't understand the ayah. Explain for me. Because you are old, you are now in your 60s, you will never approach a young person and say to them, explain this ayah for me. I don't understand the ayah. The pride is in your heart, the disease of pride, because of your old age. Therefore, you should seek knowledge when you are young. The next chapter, famous journeys to seek knowledge. The next chapter is famous journeys to seek knowledge. There are famous journeys to seek knowledge. There are many famous journeys to seek knowledge. The most famous was the journey of Musa to meet up with Al-Khidr. He thought he was the most knowledgeable person, but Allah told him, you are wrong, someone has more knowledge than you. And he asked Allah, who is that? And Allah said, Al-Khidr. And he went to seek knowledge from Al-Khidr. Musa wasn't proud and arrogant, he went to seek knowledge from Al-Khidr, because the sunnah is to travel far to seek knowledge. But he couldn't get along with Al-Khidr, and Al-Khidr warned him, إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِي صَبْرًا. You will never be able to have patience with me, because my Sharia is based upon the future and your Sharia is based upon the present. And how on earth can you have sabr with something you don't understand? How on earth can you have sabr, patience, with something you don't understand? إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِي صَبْرًا. You will never be able to have patience with me. And how can you have sabr with something you don't understand? The other important journey to seek knowledge is the journey of Jabir ibn Abdullah. He journeyed from Medina to Syria to collect one hadith. Jabir ibn Abdullah, that's the other famous journey. He journeyed from Medina to Syria to collect one hadith. The hadith he went to Syria to collect is the hadith that says, mankind will be resurrected barefooted, naked, uncircumcised, unconscious, and thirsty. Mankind will be resurrected barefooted, naked, uncircumcised, unconscious, and thirsty. Jabir ibn Abdullah journeyed from Medina to Syria to collect one hadith. Which hadith he went there to collect? Mankind will be resurrected barefooted, naked, uncircumcised, unconscious, and thirsty. The other famous journey is the journey of Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. Where is Abu Ayyub al-Ansari? Where is his grave? His grave is in Istanbul. That's where his grave is. Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, he journeyed from Medina to Egypt to collect one hadith. Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, he was the Sahaba who looked after the Prophet when the Prophet migrated from Mecca to Medina. He had a big house and the Prophet stayed on the first floor. He said, how can I stay on top of you? You are the messenger of Allah. How can I live on the second floor and you are on the first floor, the ground floor? The Prophet said, I prefer to stay on the first floor, the ground floor, because I want people to have easy access to me. I don't want to live on the second floor. His grave is in Turkey, Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. He went from Medina to Egypt to collect one hadith. What hadith? If you hide the secret sins of a Muslim, Allah will hide your sins in this life and the next life. If you hide the secret sins of a Muslim, Allah will hide your secret sins in this life and the next life. That is the hadith he went from Medina to Egypt to collect, Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. He is called al-Ansari because he was from the Ansars, the Muslims of Medina. Some Tabi'i used to travel for 1 month. These journeys from Medina to Syria, that's 1 month. From Medina to Egypt, 1 month. These are 1 month journeys for one hadith. But because of modern day technology, you don't need to travel 1 month for one hadith. Because of technology, the world is nothing but a small village. Because of technology, the world is nothing but a small village. So there's no need for you to travel 1 month to collect one hadith anymore. Those were the old days when we didn't have technology like the internet and fax machine and telephone. Medina, why you spell Medina like that? Okay, it's a mistake. Never mind. People would take journeys that span a month or more just for one hadith. Today, however, technology has made things extremely convenient for us. The world has shrunken to a small village due to modern day technology. Some Tabi'i used to travel for 1 month to collect one hadith even though they know the hadith already. So if you know the hadith already, why you travel 1 month to collect the hadith again? Do you know why? Because they want to hear the hadith from a Sahaba. It is called to upgrade your isnad. Ulu al-isnad. Ulu al-isnad. You know the hadith already, but you went for 1 month to another country to collect the hadith. Why? Because you want to hear the hadith from the lips of a Sahaba. It is called to upgrade your isnad. You don't want to hear it from a Tabi'i. Sa'id ibn Musayyib was a Tabi'i who studied with Abu Hurairah. A Tabi'i will say, I don't want to hear the hadith from Sa'id ibn Musayyib. I want to hear it from who? Abu Hurairah, the Sahaba. I want to hear it from Ibn Umar, Ibn Abbas. These are the scholars of the Sahaba. So sometimes a Tabi'i would know the hadith already, but still he collect the hadith a second time because he wants to upgrade the isnad. He wants to hear the hadith from a Sahaba, not from a Tabi'i. The next chapter, Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah, comparison of wealth and ilm. The next chapter, Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah, comparison, Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah. Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah's comparison of ilm and wealth. A student of Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah approached him and said, what is better, to have wealth or ilm? And he gave a comparison between wealth and ilm. That is our next chapter, Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah's comparison of ilm and wealth. One of his students approached him and said to him, what is better, to have ilm or wealth? And he gave a comparison. Listen to the comparison, because I have in front of me about 12 comparisons. The first comparison, listen carefully. Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah said, Ilm is what? Ilm is the legacy of the Prophet. But wealth is a legacy of kings, and prophets are better than kings. Listen to the first comparison, and I want them point by point. Point number one, the first point: Ilm is the legacy of the prophets, but wealth is a legacy of kings, and prophets are better than kings. That's the first comparison. The second comparison: Ilm is the legacy of the prophets, but wealth is the legacy of kings, and prophets are better than kings. Okay, that's the first comparison. The second comparison is Ilm protects the owner. When you have Ilm, the Ilm protects you. Why Zainab bin Jash didn't join up with the hypocrites and slander her co-wife, Aisha? Aisha said she was protected by her taqwa. When you have Ilm, the Ilm protects you. Why is it that the Madkhalis and the Sufis and the Shiites, they gain success and convert people to their falsehood? Because the people have no Ilm. Why the Madkhalis, they prey upon reverts who are fresh coming from the church? He's a freshie, coming fresh from the church. They don't target born Muslims like you, they target reverts, the Madkhalis, because they know that the revert doesn't know anything about Tawheed Hakimiyya, Al-Wala wal-Bara, Kufr bit-Taghut. They will never target born Muslims like you, they target reverts. A revert is vulnerable. So the second comparison, the Ilm protects the owner. If you are the owner of Ilm, if you are firmly grounded in Ilm with knowledge, it protects you. But when you have knowledge, you spend your whole life when you have wealth, you spend your whole life protecting your wealth. Ilm is the legacy of the prophets. Okay, the second comparison, the Ilm protects you from harm and danger, from deviant groups. Your Ilm protects you. But when you have wealth, you spend your whole life protecting your wealth. Do you understand the comparison Ibn al-Qayyim is making? When you have Ilm, your Ilm protects you from haram, from deviant groups, from erroneous ideas, from the various cancers in the body of the Ummah. The Ilm protects you. Ilm protects the owner. But the owner of wealth, he spends his whole life protecting his wealth. Because he fears poverty, he doesn't want to lose his wealth. That's the second comparison Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah told his student. Listen to the third comparison. When you have Ilm, the more you give it, the more you gain it. When you have Ilm, the more you give it, the more you gain Ilm. Because if you have a dars, a study circle, you can't give the same topic every day. If you come to this room and every day I speak about hellfire, would you, would you come back? Maybe just one or two people will be in the room. Because every halqa I spoke about the hellfire. What a boring halqa. Why you keep speaking about the same things every day? You have to do research and give different topics. At least 500 different topics. You can't speak on one topic. Islam is vast. When you have Ilm, the more you give it, the more you gain it. When you have wealth, the more you spend it, the more you lose it. That's a third comparison. When you have Ilm, the more you give Ilm, the more you gain it. But when you give wealth, the more you spend it, you lose it. Okay, shukran. And a fool and his money will soon depart. Always remember that. A fool and his money will soon depart. Look how many superstars, they call themselves superstars and they filed for bankruptcy. Have you heard about Dionne Warwick? Dionne Warwick was one of the most famous singers in America. She has filed for bankruptcy. She's broke. She might have to live off food stamps. She had millions. She used to have millions in the bank. Now she's broke. She might have to apply for food stamps. A fool and his money will soon depart. Dionne Warwick is from the same family as Whitney Houston. One is niece, one is aunt. A fool and his money will soon depart. Listen to the third comparison of Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah between wealth and knowledge. Your knowledge accompanies you to the grave and benefits you in the grave, but your wealth turns back. Okay, 85, bring me the hadith. When a man dies, three things accompany him to his grave: his family, his wealth, and his deeds. Two of them turn back: his wealth and his family. His deed remain in the grave with him. Listen to the fourth comparison. Your knowledge accompanies you to the grave to benefit you in the grave, but your wealth turns back. Okay, 85, bring me the hadith that says when you die, three things go to the grave and two turn back. Listen to the fifth comparison. Knowledge is used to judge wealth and control wealth. Knowledge is used to judge wealth and control wealth. That's the fifth comparison. The people with no knowledge, you are not allowed to put money in their hands. You are not allowed to give your money to fools to spend. Okay, shukran. The fifth comparison. Knowledge is used to judge wealth and spend wealth. And a fool and his money will soon depart. Listen to the sixth comparison. Listen to the sixth comparison of Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah. The sixth comparison: anyone can own wealth. The Pharaoh had wealth, Nimrod had wealth. Who made AIDS became famous? The three homosexuals who made the AIDS virus became famous: Rock Hudson, Liberace, Freddie Mercury. They had wealth. Between them, they had billions. Anyone can own wealth, but as for knowledge, Allah gives it to those who He loves. Anyone can own wealth. As for knowledge, Allah gives it to those whom He loves. And because of that, the Prophet said, a munafiq will never have two qualities: knowledge of the deen and a beautiful character. A munafiq will never have two qualities: knowledge of the deen and a beautiful character. Even Nimrod had wealth. Even the Pharaoh had wealth. The three men who made AIDS became famous: Rock Hudson, Liberace, Freddie Mercury. Three homosexuals. They had wealth. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry, any Joe Blogg can own wealth. As for knowledge, Allah gives it to those whom He loves. The seventh comparison: kings are in need of scholars to advise them and to stabilize the country. Kings are in need of Islamic scholars to advise them. The seventh comparison: kings are in need of Islamic scholars to advise them, but it's poor people who are in need. The poor people, they are the ones who are in need of the rich. The kings, they are in need of Islamic scholars to advise them, but it's poor people who need the rich. A person who is rich can become bankrupt one day, but the alim will not lose his knowledge because he's constantly teaching. He doesn't lose his knowledge. A poor person may become bankrupt one day. That's the comparison number 8. Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah is still speaking. A poor person a rich man may become bankrupt one day, but the scholar doesn't lose his knowledge because he's always using the knowledge. He's always teaching. He keeps revising the knowledge. That is the 8th comparison. Listen to the 9th comparison. A rich man may become bankrupt one day, but a scholar does not lose his knowledge. He doesn't, because he keeps teaching the knowledge. He keeps revising the knowledge. Listen to comparison number 9. Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah is still speaking. Wealth turns you into a slave of the dunya, but your knowledge turns you into a slave of Allah. Did you hear that? Ibn al-Qayyim said what? Your wealth turns you into a slave of the dunya. Your wealth turns you into a slave of the dunya. Comparison number 9. Your wealth turns you into a slave of the dunya, but your knowledge turns you into a slave of Allah. Listen to comparison number 10. Ibn al-Qayyim is still speaking. The rich use his wealth to invite people to the dunya and the pleasures of the dunya, but the scholar uses knowledge to invite people to Allah. The rich use his wealth. They like to throw parties. You know, they throw a lot of parties, and you'll be surprised the things that takes place at these parties. The rich uses wealth to invite people to the pleasures of the dunya. The scholar uses knowledge to invite people to Allah. That is the 10th comparison. The scholar, listen to the 11th comparison. The scholar has peace of mind and self-contentment. The rich man is uneasy and he's paranoid. Paranoid and he's untrusting. He thinks everybody is after his wealth. Rich people are very, very paranoid and they have multiple personality disorders. Listen to the 11th comparison. The scholar has peace of mind, self-contentment. If you're an Islamic scholar, you're supposed to look 10 years younger than your real age, or sometimes 15 years younger than your real age, if you're an Islamic scholar. The rich man is uneasy, not untrustworthy. He doesn't trust people. He's paranoid. He thinks everybody is after his wealth. If you propose to his daughter, he thinks, oh, he wants my wealth. Why did he propose to my daughter? He's paranoid, and he has multiple personality disorders as well. The rich people are very paranoid because they fear poverty and they think everybody is after their wealth. I don't like some of my favorite students come to the class late just now. It took place in London and now history is repeating itself. The scholar has peace of mind and self-contentment, whereas the rich man is uneasy and paranoid. He thinks everybody is after his money. You propose to his daughter and see what happens. He thinks you want to be a member of my family because you want my property. You are using my daughter to get to my property. That's what they think. Very, very paranoid, and they have multiple personality disorder because they fear poverty. They don't want to lose their wealth. They don't want to lose their status. These are the comparisons made by the great scholar of Islam, Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah. The person who wrote the book, he put another comparison. I don't know if you want to agree with that. He says sometimes your wealth causes you to be abducted and killed. Robbed, abducted and killed. Your wealth. Listen to what this is coming from Nasir Omar. Your wealth, maybe your wealth caused you to be abducted and killed. Sometimes they ask ransom money. Don't you know to abduct rich people and ask for ransom money is a business? Sometimes your wealth can cause you to be abducted and killed. The next chapter in my notes, the evil remnants of ignorance. The next chapter, the evil remnants of ignorance. The first evil remnants of ignorance, it causes you to have weak iman and no taqwa. That's the first evil remnant. So can you imagine a country where the people are jahil about Tawheed and there are a lot of grave worshippers? A lot of grave worshippers. Can you imagine the amount of zina that people commit in that country? Grave worshippers, worshiping the grave. It makes you have weak iman, no taqwa. The second evil remnants, sins become pandemic in the society. Sins become rife in the society. Rife means it becomes pandemic. Rife is British English. Rife means a lot. Sins become rife in the society. When people become jahil, people chase after the dunya and they have envy between themselves and jealousy. That's the third evil remnants of ignorance. People chase after the dunya at the expense of the akhirah and they have enmity, jealousy and envy between themselves. The third evil effect of the evil remnants of ignorance. People chase after the dunya at the expense of their hereafter. And they develop enmity, hatred between themselves and jealousy and envy. Al-hakum takathur hatta zurtum al-maqabir. The fourth evil remnants of ignorance, your enemies lose respect for you due to your ignorance. If you have a Japanese passport and you go to an embassy for a visa, you'll get the visa. If you have a Bengali passport or an Ethiopian passport and you go for a visa, they might spit at you. So when your country is a third world country, nobody respects you. And every country in the world impose visa restrictions on you. If you have a Japanese passport and you go to an embassy for a visa, you'll get the visa. If you have an Ethiopian passport and you go for a visa, they'll spit at you. You'll never get the visa because your country is a third world country. You don't have hundreds of universities in your country like the developed countries. Your country there's a lot of ignorance and poverty. And the reason why the scholars put this in their book, I'm translating an Arabic book for you word for word, is because they are talking about all types of knowledge, not just Islamic knowledge. Knowledge in all the fields of life. So when your country has very few universities and the people are not educated, and you are a third world country, no one will respect you. Every country in the world impose visa restrictions on you because you're a third world country and you're jahil. The fifth evil remnants of ignorance, which is called jahala, it makes the ummah of Muhammad becomes backward economically, technologically, spiritually, militarily, politically. You become backward. Can you build fighter jets? Can you build tanks? Can you build ships? What can you build? Do you have to import everything from the kuffar? The fifth evil effects of ignorance, it makes the ummah of Muhammad becomes backward. Spiritually, morally, socially, economically, technologically, militarily. You are backward in every field, in every way. That is the fifth evil effects of Jahl. The evil remnants of Jahl makes the ummah of Muhammad becomes backward in every possible way. Militarily, economically, technologically, in every way you become backward. The sixth evil remnant of Jahl, it makes you become undesirable. You can't maintain a marriage. You keep divorcing. You might have to marry and divorce 10 times. You can't maintain a marriage because you're not marriage material. It makes you undesirable for marriage. Because if you have a conflict in the house, you might punch your wife in the head. Jahil people are very violent as well because they can't think. They settle all disputes with their fist. They settle all disputes with their fist and verbal abuse. They can't reason things out because of their jahala. You're not supposed to marry people who are jahil. What if they kill you in the house? They can't think. They settle disputes with verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. Ignorance makes you pessimistic about life. Ignorance causes you to become pessimistic about life. Number 7, it makes you pessimistic about life. Number 8, it makes you unable to think and analyze situations. You have to depend on the advice of others, and people don't always give sincere advice. Ignorance causes Muslims to become pessimistic about life. Number 8, it makes you unable to think for yourself and analyze situations. You have to depend upon the advice of others, and not everyone is sincere with your advice. A woman will never respect you if you have to seek your advice from other men. You can't think for yourself. Your wife will never respect you. You can't think for yourself. Yes, it makes you unable to think independently. You have to depend on the advice of others, and people don't always give you proper advice because they are envious and jealous. It's a human weakness to be jealous and envious. They don't always give you the proper advice. Not everybody is sincere. The next chapter, the benefits of ilm. The next chapter, the benefits of ilm. The many benefits of ilm. The benefits of ilm, number one, it makes you have iman and taqwa. Number two, it gives you the ability to know which group is on the right path and which group is a deviant group. It gives you the ability to discern. Discern means to decipher, to know which group is on the haqq, which group is on the batil. Why the Salafis target reverts fresh from the church? We call them the freshie. Because they know they don't have knowledge to decipher, to discern, to know the haqq from the batil. A revert is very, very vulnerable. I feel sorry for them. And the wicked scholars make matters worse. Number three, it makes you give people their rights. Number three, it makes you give people their rights. Your children have a right over you. What is the first right your child has over you? The first right is for the child to be born legitimate, not a bastard child. That's the first right. Did you know that? The first right your kids have over you is for them to be born legitimate, not a bastard child. Your Muslim brothers and sisters have 6 rights over you. You know the 6 rights? Do you know the 6 rights they have over you? When they seek your advice, you give it to them. Okay, 85, bring the hadith. What are the 6 rights we have over each other? When they ask you advice, you advise them sincerely. When they give you salam, you reply to the salam. If they are getting married and they invite you to the walima, you should go to the walima. When they sneeze and say Alhamdulillah, you say Yarhamukallah. When they are sick, you go and visit them. When they are dead, you go to their janazah. Knowledge makes you give people their rights. Knowledge makes you happy and self-contented. Knowledge gives you happiness and self-contentment. You are happy in your deen if you have knowledge. The people who have no knowledge, they are unhappy in their deen. Some of them look 10 years older than their age. No self-contentment. Knowledge gives you self-contentment and happiness. Okay, 85, bring the hadith. The rich man is the man who has self-contentment. The rich man is the man who has self-contentment. Not the man with dinar and dirham. The man with self-contentment. That is the rich man. Knowledge makes you implement Sharia properly. Why when Omar, that's the 5th benefit. Knowledge makes you implement Sharia properly. Do you mind if I continue this tomorrow? Because my 90 minutes are over. Okay, shukran for letting me know. Save your questions for tomorrow. Write down your questions and save them for tomorrow. I'm not taking any questions. My 90 minutes are over. We will continue this dars tomorrow. The importance of knowledge continued. 8011, are you in the room? You have to doctor the poster because I didn't finish my notes. Subhanakallahumma. I would like to thank our brother. We are from Waterford Notes, and our brother or sister, whatever the case is, 89 for posting the hujjah, the current hujjah, 85 for bringing the hadith hujjah. We'll continue this tomorrow. My notes are just 2 minutes. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. I will now yield the mic.